And speaking of Langston, the Lions broke one of the ugliest records in sports history Saturday when they were defeated by Prairie View A&M that ended Prairie View's 80-game losing streak.
80 games, that's more like a losing free fall, Shaq. It's pretty terrible.
All right, now joining us in the studio is Bronco quarterback Scott Condict.
Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Indeed. All right, Scott, now the Broncos had kind of a slow start with Northwestern, just a 3-0 win. We didn't generate a whole lot of offense. How'd you guys bounce back from that game?
Well, you know, I think a lot of that was first-game jitters, and, you know, we got into a bad situation, started pressing a lot, and we knew we had the talent on offense to have a good offense. So, you know, we just stayed with it and listened to the coaches and just, you know, did what they told us to do, and we started clicking.
Now, Scott, after that game was over, you had a great game against Texas A&M Kingsville your second week. What did that mean? What did that win mean for the team?
Oh, it was an incredible victory because every year, you know, there's that hurdle, which is Kingsville, and that's always what keeps us from winning the Lone Star Conference. And to get by that game this year, you know, we have a lot of confidence going into the rest of the season, knowing that we do have that shot, you know, to win the Lone Star outright. So it's a great feeling to beat Kingsville.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Scott, you've been throwing the ball exceptionally well. Your timing seems on. Is it where you want it to be right now?
I think it could be better, you know, but early in this season, you know, it's pretty good right now. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that we threw a lot this summer with the receivers and, you know, got a lot of the timing down.
Now, you seem to have a lot of confidence in your offensive line. Are they starting to come together well during this point of the season?
Yeah, and you know, that's an attribute to Coach Howard and what he's done with them. You know, we've got 3 new guys on the offensive line, you know, only 2 guys returning from last year. And, you know, you can tell every game they're getting better, and I think by the end of the year, they'll be a tough line to handle.
Okay, now, we talked a little bit about you're throwing the ball extremely well, but you've got a few guys that are catching the ball extremely well, too. Tell me a little bit about your receivers.
Yeah, we've got some great receivers. We've got Shannon Hall coming back. He's a senior, and he's made a few key catches, had a big catch last week. Todd Barnes has some catches. Alton Lusk, you know, has done a great job, and Chad Hacker has also had some catches this year. So when you've got 4 quality receivers, you know, it's a lot easier as a quarterback to go out there and throw the ball. Okay,
this weekend, another big game against Langston, UCO homecoming. What's the team's attitude going into this ball game?
You know, we're trying to stay focused. You know, with a game like this, you know, you try not to overlook them. You try not to get involved in the week and what's going on. You try to stay focused on what you're here for, and that's to win a football game. And, you know, I think the coaches will really stress that this week, and that's mainly what we're trying to do.
Now, does that kind of, are you afraid you might look past that, you know, Langston getting beat by Prairie View and in that 80-game streak?
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, when you see that on the scoreboard, you know, you look at that and say, you know, this team can't be that great. But, you know, I've seen them on film, and they have a lot of good athletes on their team. So, you know, they're a team that could challenge us, and I hope that, you know, we come out ready to play.
Now, I was reading earlier that I believe Langston, in that loss, they threw for around 400 yards. You think the Broncos might be able to throw for 400 yards?
Oh, I hope so. You know, I always hope that we can do that. But, you know, I think to win the game and win it by a big margin, we're going to have to run the ball. And I think that we can do that. And maybe that'll open up the passing game where we can have a lot of yards. But, you know, the first thing I worry about is the win, and that's about it.
Okay. Now, Scott, you're the captain of the offensive side of the ball, but we can't fail to mention the defense for UCO, led by Johnny Luter, Brandon Carter, Kelly Headington. Those guys have been playing outstanding this season. What kind of confidence does that give you when you go back on the field after the defense has posted a huge stand, knowing that, you know, you don't have to score on every play?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big plus for you because, you know, last week they carried us the first half. I mean, we didn't play that great in the first half. You know, we scored 10 points. But, you know, we came out in the second half knowing that the defense had played a great game, and we owed it to them to stick some points on the board, and that's what we did. But having a defense that can control the game like that is essential to win big games, and that's what we have.
Okay, speaking of the defense, Johnny Luter back from the season, the big question, would he be able to bounce back from that knee injury? What's it like having just his presence on the field?
Oh, he's definitely back. You know, the first few games, you know, people were worried about if he had lost a step but, you know, I've seen him play and I've seen him on film, and I don't think he's lost a step. I think he's back 100%. And, you know, that his leadership on the defense makes him that much better. And it's amazing the difference from last year to this year, what kind of leadership that he's shown to the team. And, you know, I think that's really important. And again, that's going to help us down the long run win the big games.
Okay, now the Broncos undefeated right now. What's to come for UCO?
Oh, I think the sky's the limit. You know, I told some people before the season that we could go undefeated, you know, and that we could challenge for the Lone Star Conference and win the national championship. And you know, I've always said that that's what we want to do. you know, I think if you go into the season settling for less, you know, you're kind of selling yourself short. So, you know, I think that, you know, we can go undefeated in this season if we get everything straight and we keep focused on every game, taking one at a time. And I think we'll do very well in the playoffs and have a chance to win that national championship.
Indeed, we hope you guys do win the national championship, and the Huddle will be right there along with you. We are out of time, but thank you for joining us. For Aaron Peters and the Huddle, I'm Jason Schack. Good luck to all the Edmond teams this week. We leave you with the highlights. See you next week.